I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No.
And the rocket's red flare.
Oh,
Same bird, different wing. All right. Approval of agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No personal appearances, I don't believe.
No, sir.
Okay. EMA.
Did not submit a report. Actually, Ken has been battling some health issues.
Okay.
So,
Fire report.
Gary also did not submit a report.
Okay. Police is in the packet. Anybody got any questions about the PD report? Ryan, what you got?
So our investments, the interest is starting to slip down. Before we were over 5.25. Now we're down about 4.5. That's reflected in our dividends and interest at $102,000 of interest and dividends for this year. So still performing well. And then the year-to-date budget and expense. And so other than that, I don't have anything, gentlemen.
Anybody got anything for Ryan on the finances stuff? Nope. All right. Mark. He's got his submitted in here.
Do you have any questions about anything?
Congratulations.
What's that?
Congratulations on 40.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It just seemed like they're ever getting there, and all of a sudden you're there, and it's like, oh, wow.
That didn't take long, did it?
Surprised they hired you when you were just
But
10
thank
years
you.
old. I didn't think they were allowed to do that even back then.
What's that?
I didn't know they could hire you when you were 10 years old, even back in those days.
That's another compliment. Because about 10 years younger.
All right. Anything from Mark, guys?
No.
Good job, Mark.
Yep, thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you, but also thank you guys for the honor of lighting the tree. It was.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
And just so that you know, there was a Black Friday sale on patio heaters. So I picked up a couple so that next year, as we are standing there, it will be much more pleasant.
Nice.
It'll probably be 60 degrees next year.
If I can bring that warm weather, everyone can thank me.
All right. Water reports handed out under your agenda.
He basically just submitted the normal production. Everything's running smoothly at the water plant.
Don't need me to read numbers?
No, we all got it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just letting you know where it was at.
Thank you.
All right. Anything from code enforcement?
So he submitted a report.
Oh, he
and
did.
These are all the active codes enforcement scenarios that we're dealing with. I will say that since he's been on and we've been more proactive and sending out letters, and he really does due diligence to find out addresses and phone numbers. We've actually had, I believe, 4 properties that have sold because of some of the active enforcement that we've done. Basically absentee owners that they're like, you know what, we don't want to deal with it, so they put it up. I know that there's 3 properties just near us that have recently sold that we've actually been in contact with builders that want to build houses on it. And so it's had a very positive impact.
Cool.
Is the 119 East 7th, is that 2-story one that has been a jungle?
Yes,
And you finally got it cleaned up?
yes,
I gotta go by there.
yes,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
It-
monumental.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has that property also been sold?
I don't believe it's been sold yet. I know that he is entertaining the idea of selling, but there's another property that's further to the east on the north side that it's been vacant for quite some time. That due to these efforts, that one's up for sale. Mr. Mitchell, he sold 3 properties. We're actually going to see a little bit of a building boom.
Good.
Just, you know, the mobile home that's south of here, that should be cleared off in the next week. If it hasn't been, I haven't been by it today. The one that's been vacant for 20 years, that one's going to be removed, and that lot's going to be turned into, I believe, duplexes.
Nice.
So, yes.
All right, Mr. Hummel, looks like you got a year-end report here. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So-
I really like that.
Yeah, it took me a lot of time.
The park board produced the report.
Yes. So what we did is the park board had asked
News to me.
what we had accomplished since the park board was instituted by this board, and so that's all the projects that we have worked on and we've accomplished. You know, some of them we are directly responsible for. Others, you know, we just had a hand in. You know, the fishing dock, you know, that was constructed by the Optimists. We put the sidewalk into it. So it's some of the things have been a group effort. The batting cage, you know, we partnered with the school and the booster club for that. We try to find a project annually for us to work together and work on in the park. And so, but these are all everything that we've accomplished, and then some of the ongoing projects or projects that are in process. So it's been a pretty busy, you know, roughly 18 months.
Would you, or have you posted this on our website?
We have not. We need to clean it up a little bit. This was just kind of a rough internal thing that we did for them. What we'll do is we'll clean it up, and then we'll get it posted to our website, and then the park board wants to put it on their Facebook page as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
That's all I have.
That's all you got?
Sir, we are,
Taking it for
That's all I have.
we are here to make you look good.
You did well.
All right. Nothing from Mrs. Testone. She's not here. Item number 7.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
No unfinished business. New business.
So with the MOPRM rates and our cowbell policies, I'm going to turn it over to our guest. With our insurance broker, Mike Keith Insurance, to have a conversation about our renewals and share a little unpleasantness.
Yeah, everybody loves insurance, right? Well, these two first packet, or these 2 packages that we have here are going to be our cowbell cyber. That's what we went to. Yes, sir.
Come here and have a seat,
All right.
please.
Yeah, absolutely. Sit at the head table here. All right, gentlemen. So as we all know, insurance is on a rise a little bit. We all feel that in our own personal aspect as well with MOPRM. So we've had some claims this year in the program of MOPRM. So of course that reciprocates out to each individual entity and nonprofit that they provide insurance for. So you will see a little bit of an increase in here. Some of that is going to be a 10.7% increase on the liability aspects, the lines of coverage, and then 10% on the property as well. So we've increased our overall TIV, our total insured value, $435,000. So I'll explain a few aspects of it, the coverages that we have, and then we'll look over the schedules that we have. At any time, if anybody's got any questions, by all means speak up. I'll be more than happy to answer those. So the first page that you're going to see here, this is an executive summary. This is going to show you pretty easy the difference between the 24-25 expiring policy to our renewal 25-26 policy that we have here. We'll go from top to bottom. The number of vehicles that we have 26 units that the city owns. Our auto liability is $2 million per occurrence, no annual aggregate. So an annual aggregate is all claims combined in a policy period. Below that, you're going to see our uninsured motorist is $50,000. And then we carry $500 comp deductible, $500 collision deductible on all our autos. We do have an auto liability deductible, so if one of our units is involved in an accident and it is our fault, we are negligent for that, we would have a $1,000 deductible that would apply to them. And then I also have a $1,000 hired and non-owned deductible. So hired and non-owned is a coverage where if Ryan was using his personal vehicle or one of our employees were using their personal vehicle, they had to go get something, say a plumbing fitting, just for instances. They were involved in an accident that caused bodily injury and property damage. Ryan's insurance, personal insurance, would be primary. So it would pay for his car or any damages. But if there was a lawsuit that came along and they said, "Hey, Ryan, what were you doing?" "Oh, I was going to get a plumbing fixture." That could be misconstrued as in the line of business. So in the line of business, now they're going to know that the city of Adrian has higher limits than what he probably does on his personal. So they're going to name you in that lawsuit, right? So the defense, insurance companies have a duty to defend. So they're going to hire an attorney on your behalf to defend you in the event that you're named in a suit. So, and then if there's any settlement rendered out of that, that is where that $2 million comes into play. So that is what hired and non-owned auto is for. Anybody have any questions on the auto section of this? Pretty straightforward. Next is our crime. This is lateral, so pretty common: fidelity, forgery, alteration, on-premise, in transit. These are small sub-limits that we have for each one of these here. It does carry a $1,000 deductible. We won't sit here and go through each one of those. I think we all kind of know those. Yeah, absolutely. Next is our general liability. Of course, this is for claims that we are negligent for, right? So if I always use the wet floor sign, it's an easy deal. Somebody comes in, there's a wet floor, we don't say anything, they slip and fall and get injured, we could be held negligent or liable for that. Then we have a $2 million per occurrence unlimited annual aggregate on that. So, but if we had a wet floor sign and we said, "Hey, be careful, the floor's wet," they fell, we may not be held negligent for that. So that there's a difference in that. There was, like I said, on the liability lines of coverage, a 10.7% increase in the liability rate itself. So when we get all the way to the bottom, we see the increase that we have. I want you to keep that in mind, that we had a 10.7% increase on that. Just for instance, I have another meeting tomorrow with a city that took a little bit of an increase as well. We went out to market, so we do that every 3 years on your behalf. We take it out to market, make sure we're bringing you the best product possible for the best price. We did that with that other city, and it came in actually $10,000 higher than what their renewal was. So we do that. We have so many different municipalities and nonprofits that we look at. We're constantly remarketing those. So we just want to bring it to your attention that it's not just you that we're seeing an increase on it. It's insurance overall.
Yeah, sure.
So next is employee benefits liability. This is going to be if one of your employees, significant others, don't get added to the insurance, they go to the hospital and they find that, "Oh, I'm not on the health care insurance that need to be," then it goes back to our employee benefits liability. Again, $2 million each claim, unlimited aggregate with a $1,000 deductible. Next is employment practices liability. This is going to be our hiring, firing, discrimination. I think we're all aware that this is pretty prevalent in the world that we live in. So the rate on this is based on your count. I believe we added 4 full-time employees, one part-time employee. A little bit of an increase on this line here. It carries a $5,000 deductible. Any questions on the employment practices liability? Next is going to be our public officials' errors and omissions. That's the decision that you all make here tonight as a board. So if one of our constituents brings a lawsuit against something that some decision that you all made, this is where the defense and any settlement would be rendered out of. it'll protect you all. Again, $2 million each claim, unlimited aggregate with $1,000 deductible.
And on a side note, you should never serve on any board unless errors and omissions insurance
Yes.
is there. So,
Because you could be personally held liable for that. Below is law enforcement liability. Of course, we know, again, this is pretty prevalent in the world that we live in. False detention, false arrest. There's always lawsuits that seem to stem out of those. We do have one more full-time employee than what we did last year. So that was a reason for the rate increase on that one. Next is our property section. Again, we increased the TIV, or total insured value, $473,634, excuse me. And the property rate increased by 10%. We'll have a schedule that we'll go through. We have business income on there. It's $100,000 per the schedule. So if there was a fire in this building, we had to rent another building and increased cost of business. That's where that would come in. So you're to maintain your status quo, what your normal bills are, but any increase in expenses, that's where that would kick in. We have $1,000 property deductibles. We have equipment breakdown deductible of $2,500 per the schedule. Real quick on equipment breakdown, City Hall is described as a premise. This is the premise of City Hall, and 100 feet from here is also part of that premise description. But if we had a transformer that would to blow down the road and artificially generated electrical current came in and damaged our computer systems or our HVAC system, equipment breakdown would pick that up. That's where that would come in from. We have special cause of loss, which is the highest cause of loss that we have. We have basic, broad, and special. We have replacement cost as well. There's replacement cost and actual cash value. We have replacement cost. And below is inland marine. This is equipment that moves from place to place. It's not in one place. So this building, tables, chairs, stay in this building. It's business, personal property. Lawnmowers, blades, tractors, things of that nature move from place to place. It's inland marine. So, any questions on any aspect of this before we get into the schedules of anything? We go to the next page. This is going to be our schedule of autos. So we send this over before this meeting. We have the department heads look over this to make sure that everything's adequate, but we like to have multiple eyes on it because we don't want to miss something that the city owns. So we'll look through there. There's 3 pages of auto. Reads left to right. Again, we have $500 comp deductible, $500 collision, $1,000 liability deductible. On the second page, we added number 25 and 26, the 2 Dodge Durangos. We had all trailers. We always get the question about trailers. Commercial policy versus personal lines policy. The liability will extend from your personal vehicle to a trailer, but in a commercial setting, it does not. So if it was to detach from your vehicle and somebody was injured, you have to have it scheduled on your policy. Any questions on the auto schedule? Anything that you see that we may have missed, added, deleted? No? Go. We'll move to the next section. The next section is going to be our property. Again, it reads left to right. It's going to have the description, the building value, the business income amount for that location, and the total insured value. If you look at location 3, City Park, the new water plant that we have, or water plant building, all the way to the right, the contribution per location is the premium that's associated with it. That is 1/3 of your overall premium. It's a $7.3 million complex. So now keep in mind that one thing with MOPERM is different than you're going to find with insurance. when we talk insurance, there's occurrence. So if there was a hail claim, it would be one occurrence versus per building. So one deductible would apply to all the buildings that were involved in that one occurrence versus a per building deductible. So we're seeing a trend. And we can thank Oklahoma for this, where carriers are excluding wind and hail, or they're putting percentage deductibles, or they're putting percentage deductible and per building deductible. We did Clinton School District, I think 2 years ago, we had a $4 million claim with them. They had one deductible that applied. Since then, that carrier has changed their tune. Now they have a $50,000 per building deductible. So, yeah. So these are things that we're seeing. So with MoPerm, we have $1,000 per occurrence deductible. So if every building was in here was damaged, we'd only have one deductible that would apply to that loss.
Is that true of vehicles as well?
Um,
That the hailstorm came through?
it is not true on 20 per vehicle. Any questions on any of the property? Flip through there, make sure that we have everything. We always kind of also add, make sure that you, whenever you're driving around town, you know this area so much better than we do. Keep in mind to look up repeaters on water towers, antennas, things of that nature. Bring those to our attention. We'll be more happy to look at those and see if it's something that's on the list or not. Backstops on baseball fields, fences, things like that. We've done a risk analysis. We've driven around and looked at everything. Well, we think we may have everything on here, but it's always best for the community to listen. Questions? Next page. Again, our overall TIV was $437,634. The next page is going to be our equipment schedule. Again, this is things that move from place to place. The question that we get here quite often is, why would we insure something for $1,000 when we have a $1,000 deductible? So again, we go back to that occurrence. So if it was in a building with multiple items, there would be one deductible that would apply to that, or one theft loss. One deductible would apply to that item. So it wouldn't make sense to turn that one item in, but if a plethora of items got damaged at any one occurrence, then we would want to turn it in. We did add number 50 through 52. Looks like the new John Deere tractors, which are considerable.
So say that again, what you mentioned earlier, I mean, because I'm seeing some things, not trying to be a curmudgeon, but, when something's valued at $234 and then the deductible's $1,000 on it.
Correct.
Tell me the logic behind that.
Yeah, so if in the event that that's in a building with multiple items that are $200, if you lost a bunch of those at one given time, there would only be one deductible that would apply to that. Versus if you just lost one handheld radio that was $200, you wouldn't probably want to turn that in because your deductible would be over the price of that.
Just assuming that there'd be a lot of things that would get trashed or broken or.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's see, like the welder equipment and tools, which that's $6,000. Trash pump. Most of these in the same location.
Yeah, so if we had a tornado hit Public Works building, it would eliminate most of those items that are on that list. And so we'd only have one deductible for that location, but all those items, then we could claim.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a $1,000 deductible per individual item on there. And then the contributions out to the right of each one of those items. So, and that's annual. So, your 3-inch trash pump costs you $2 a year to insure that item. Any questions on the inland marine schedule? The next couple pages are just going to be the MoPerm participation highlights. I am not going to read this verbatim, but I will just hit some highlights on it. So a couple things on here to keep in mind. This is when it was, the cost of the program, when it was built, the cost of the program, the claims administration, and assessment. In the event that you have any claims, that all goes through our office. We have a claims liaison that's on our staff that handles that. Should you need something, you contact her. She can get a hold of the carrier a little quicker, and it just helps streamline that. The next page is member services. So outside of this, we also have a third-party service that we use. So Ryan and I were talking about this earlier. We have a full HR department that is at your discretion. Should you have any problems with hiring, firing, any HR problems, it's free of charge. You have an 800 number. You call us. We'll help you navigate through that. But it's all legally backed. So that's just some added value that we pay for you all being our customer. Outside of that, MoPerm also has a hotline for employment practices. And then they have some online training things as well. So risk management, general safety, law enforcement, human resources as well. So if you needed any of that information, that is all free of charge for being part of it. Below it is our liability coverage. Keep in mind our liability is cut into two different subsections. We have Missouri State Sovereign Immunity, which protects all municipalities, and then we have our general liability that does not cover everything that the sovereign immunity covers. The next page is just placement requirements. We meet those, coverage highlights, and then the back page is earth movement deductible and flood deductible. So we do have earthquake and flood with this. It does, in our county here, it does carry $25,000 per occurrence deductible for each one. So flood and earthquake. Anybody have any questions on the MoPerm policy that we have? We want to look at the other handout. The other handout is a Cowbell Cyber. I think we put this on, was it last year? Last year. So this is just a small cyber policy for you all. That's going to help. So some of the things that you're going to see on there is going to be like ransomware. If somebody was to get into your system and hold it hostage, it's covered here. Social networking or engineering, is on here as well. That's if there's a project. Ryan gets an email from the mayor that says, hey, send somebody $100,000, and he does it because that's where he thinks it comes from, then that'll be covered on there. So it is not a full, robust cyber policy, but to get a full cyber policy, you have to, A, go through a risk analysis. You gotta have a dedicated IT department, multi-person authenticity, but this is a entry level, for lack of better terms, to cover what we need for the city. MoPerm used to provide it, they did away with their cyber, and this is to cover that. So this is $420.
A few years ago, when I was the auditor of the gas company, we had a group out of Jamaica that was doing some fishing. And what they did is they sent an email that had an extra period in it. So it came from our commissioner, which was Jeff Cox, and it was j.cox.at casscounty.com. And so when I saw it, I immediately recognized it. Okay, just number one, at the time, the commissioner did not like me, and so he would never send me an email directly. So it's like I knew it was fake. But our treasurer didn't pay attention, and so they had started a wire transfer, and we had two signature authentication. So he started it, and then had to come to me and get my signature. And I'm like, Steve, that's not a legitimate deal. And so Platte County, they missed it, and they wired $75,000, and that treasurer had to pay that out of his personal pocket. And so,
But he wouldn't have if he had this. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is gonna protect you again, but multi-person authenticity is great. Don't wire transfer any money unless you really look into that. But it's easier said than done whenever you're moving and shaking, especially in land and title companies, because like I said, there was an extra period in there.
you know, how many people are gonna be like, oh, this looks familiar, and we're just gonna send it on. So we see that, that's what happens.
I think you double check pretty hard before you wire transfer to them, if they're $75. One would think so. Yeah.
I could give you a couple examples of people that have not paid that much attention on it, to be honest with you. So, any questions on either the cyber or the mow perm? Nope. Okay. If there's no questions, then I would present it for your all's vote and approval.
And if you'll just motion each one separately for approval. And then it's a simple motion.
I make a motion that we accept the mow perm insurance proposal for the 25-26 year at $90,567.
Second. All in favor?
Make a motion that we accept the proposal for cowbell cyber insurance quotes at $420 for the 25-26 year.
All in favor?
Guys, we greatly appreciate you all as our client. Should you need something, by all means, reach out to us. I have a signature page for you. I can leave with you. It's an application for the cowbell.
Okay.
You may just review the application on there, so it's adequate, sign it.
Okay. Yep, will do.
Thanks, guys. Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
And Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Item number 9B.
Yes. Yep.
Then just sign it. I just need an e-signature on it.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
Insurance.
So,
That's the doctor's office?
Yes.
Oh my God, what's going on?
this is Dell's Appliances is on the one corner, and the clinic is on the other corner. And anytime that there are multiple cars there, it becomes a hazard. Even driving my smaller vehicle, I have to really slow down to make sure that I don't catch, especially there's tend to be two trucks that are always back to back for some reason.
And that's where the fire department
Yes, sir.
accesses.
Yes. And so, if we have an emergency services vehicle that comes around the corner, it's tight anyway. It's a tight street. So the recommendation is to have them on the west side, closest to Dell's Appliances, go to parallel parking, and then leave the clinic at just the normal angle parking to see if that alleviates the congestion. If it does, then we'll just leave it that way. If it doesn't, then we'll move to parallel parking on both sides of the street.
Do we officially have parallel parking on the south side of that street on the same block?
I believe so, yes. Well, so on the south side, I believe it's parallel parking on both sides.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
I can't remember if we made that official or not. Do we have signs up there on the south side?
We can take it.
Make sure we got that
Yes.
all right in. If we do, we need to put maybe some parking lines on the street and some signage.
Have you had a conversation with Dells about this?
No, not yet. Mainly because we wanted to bring it to you, and as a safety concern.
I personally don't think it affects Dell's as much as it would the clinic because they have more customers coming in and going.
Doesn't Daniel own the building?
Yes. Okay. For us, again, it was, if we go parallel on both sides, it would, they would lose parking places, for the clinic.
When we thought about, some of the older people that use the clinic, as well as, any handicapped individuals. On the west side, usually Dell's only has 2 or 3 vehicles, so the impact to them isn't going to be as dramatic.
Yeah, and when they have their service trucks stick out there, it's tough.
Yeah. And sometimes they have a truck attached to a trailer, and it blocks the entire street.
Yeah.
And so, it becomes a hazard.
Are the spots painted on either side? I don't think they are they? They just people just park
There was spots painted on the clinic side.
Yes.
I wonder if we could steepen those up just a skosh, maybe
Like we did on Main Street?
Yeah, maybe, we might lose one car's worth, but it'd
Change
be,
an angle.
yeah, that's just an idea. It
Yeah.
might be, get them a little tighter in and then parallel on the other side.
Because when we did Main Street, we only lost one or two.
per block.
Yeah, so it wasn't a but it made a huge difference in safety.
Yeah.
Is it an option to make those compact car spots there on that street?
No trucks.
Well, we have the authority. So we have the authority to do anything regarding parking or encroachment on our streets. That's granted to us by state statute. So if we want to make it compact, we can make it compact. If we want to, we truly have the authority to do whatever's in the citizens' best interest.
I don't know, I was just thinking, cars are never the problem. So when somebody comes in with a pickup truck and doesn't park up close, that makes it a little bit more complicated as well.
A full-size four-door King Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the only time I've ever had issue through there is when Dell's has stuff on one side and then there's stuff on the other side too. I think if we make Dell's park parallel, it'll
Open it up.
pretty well fix
Because
it.
it's already
I
a
think,
one-way.
Yes, it is one way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're still they're gonna have times where they're loading a truck or whatever that, that they're, surely we're not gonna write them a ticket if they're out there loading a truck.
No, sir.
But
No, sir.
like for just parking purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they could park in the alley for that matter, around back or whatever, but.
I think they'd understand, especially when that's where the fire department has to pull
Yeah.
into. They're there.
Yeah, I don't think it's just like these codes and stuff that we've been, a lot of times, all you really need to do is tell somebody that what they're, that
Right.
it's a problem. So, but, I'll make a motion to, when I get to it, cause for some reason, either it closed itself or I closed it when I wasn't paying attention. I'm almost there.
There you go.
Okay, make a motion that we approve bill number 24-16, ordinance number 1192.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Second reading.
Now I make a motion again on a second reading of bill number 24-16, ordinance number 1192, an ordinance changing the parking along the west side of North Virginia between Main Street and the alleyway.
Roll call. Vic?
Yes.
Hummel? Yes. Bridges?
Yes.
Sears?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will have signs for both sides of the street. We'll also look at getting the other side striped. Item number C, I had the incorrect forms to bring to you tonight, so we need to postpone that to a future alderman meeting.
Okay. We'll move on to letter D then.
So gentlemen, this is the time of the year that we approve the performance bonus for staff. I've just included the history of the performance bonus as far back as we could go for your consideration.
This is
Per employee across the board.
Yes, sir.
Do we know what I know it's a bonus, but do we know what the cost of living from the last 5 years increase would have been? From 18 to,
I'd say probably 10%, wouldn't you?
not been the lowest in our lifetime.
I think we've been keeping up pretty good, I think.
On the bonuses?
No, on raises.
No, I think so too.
Yeah.
I noticed the bonus, but I didn't know if we wanted to increase it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
The previous 2 years, the board has been very generous with staff, and we thank you for that.
Is this performance bonus been in ordinance for, or is it?
That I do not. I don't believe it is a. So in years past, it was referenced as a Christmas bonus, but Christmas bonuses are not allowed to be given out in a governmental entity. So,
Because of Christmas, you mean, or?
I'm sorry?
Because of Christmas?
Yes.
So 4th of July bonus would be all right. I'm not being, I mean, a serious question.
You know,
Or
I-
Columbus Day,
I
not a good
do,
choice?
I do not,
Or-
I don't know. The attorney last year made the recommendation, or the year before, that we actually named it the performance
Yeah,
bonus.
I don't think you're supposed to give bonuses just based on the fact that it's a holiday or a special. I think
Yes.
that's why it's called a performance bonus.
Yes.
This is
So
like,
any holiday.
you guys did a good job.
Yes.
Here at the, you know,
At
we
the
have
end of
some
the year.
extra money in the budget at the end of the year, which brings up my question. And I know you probably didn't present it because you don't want it to seem like you're asking for a bonus, but I still need the numbers. So, has everybody performed well enough to receive the bonus? And is it in our budget to give bonuses?
Yes, sir.
How many employees do we have?
Does part-time get it too?
Yes.
26.
They don't count.
They don't count?
No.
You're
Mine is
very
5.
part-time.
21?
Mine is one more because of the reserve.
So
That
so
includes
20.
Parks Board employees.
So no, they voted for a separate bonus.
Okay.
for- Yes, we
So
took.
21?
Minus those two.
Yes, that's 20.
8. Go with 17. 17's a good number. 'Cause
I think the mayor
one.
deserves it. I mean, so the aldermen should probably deserve it
Troy
too.
get one?
so-
Troy does not.
Just saying, just
Yeah,
saying.
that has to come out of our personal pockets to each other.
I think we did.
My bonus goes to
Okay.
Matt,
Okay.
Matt's goes to Jeremy's.
Yeah.
Do what?
I'll give you everything in my wallet.
But Troy doesn't get it.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So
I got a bunch of quarters in mine.
How many
Sorry,
would
you
be
told me
receiving
a
the
lot of
performance?
people. 16.
16.
Yes.
All right, so that's a $4,000 total. If we went to 300, that would be 4,800. That's my suggestion.
I'm fine with that.
Let's have
Make
a-
a motion, we give performance bonuses at the discretion of the city administrator to all employees, including the city administrator, at an amount of $300 each.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to say, and all the money in my wallet.
How many part-time
Plus
people do we
this
have?
dollar.
We have
16 more.
3 out at the water plant. We have a part-time reserve officer that,
Okay, I wasn't sure.
fills
I mean,
in.
how many part-time people we have?
Yeah, and then our SRO, which technically doesn't qualify as full-time because of its contract nature. Yeah.
He's a mercenary.
All right, anything else? Move on to item E.
So we're going to talk about insurance, and in the excitement of the last one, which they said there was a 10% increase in each one, we were looking at a 59.9%, which is the largest increase allowable by law. And so we were going to go from $14,000 a month to $22,000 a month for our insurance coverages. We've had a lot of claims. We've had some consistent claims every single month, and as such, to keep the current policy that we had, that was what the rate was going to be. That was the renewal price. Our broker took us out to the market, shopped it, but due to claims history, every other company denied us. So what we did is we made fundamental changes to our plan. The way our current plan worked is that we had a $3,500, and all these are, this is your first and your second page of this. We had a $3,500 deductible, and then after the employee met the $3,500 deductible, the plan picked up 100% of all the costs after that. A few years ago, I made some changes to bring down our cost in order to have that plan where we were at, where we only had like a 6% increase. What we're recommending is that we keep the $3,500 deductible, but then after we hit that, then the plan goes to a 75-25 split, and then it has a maximum out of pocket of $7,000. Making that change, it actually brings our premium down to $13,183. So it's actually a almost 7% reduction over what we're currently paying. So what it's doing is it's shifting more of the cost to the employee away from the city. And so that's the recommendation that I'm bringing to the board.
How was this news received, generally speaking?
Not favorably, but understandably. I mean, with what's going on within insurance, it wasn't exciting. But I am making a second recommendation, which is the next topic, which I'll go ahead and share that one, which is the HRA adjustment. Because the recommendation is dropping the premium down, saving us $1,000 a month. So we're going to save $12,000 for the year, increasing the HRA by $1,500. So then that way it picks up more of that out of pocket that was shifted back to the employee. So now the entire deductible, so the employee won't be out anything of the initial deductible, and then only out the additional money if they have a major claim. And so it makes it more palatable.
Thank you for thinking of that option, because I'm uncomfortable that I'll just ask, I mean, is it a small amount of employees that are the vast majority of the claims that have been submitted?
Yes.
Okay, so unfortunately, in the way that insurance works, everybody's being penalized.
We have a small group.
Yeah.
And so if you have one or two people that have health issues and health concerns, it does raise the rates for everybody.
So this is a way that we can at least give back, compensate.
Yes.
Have we thought about going with a group like NPR or?
We actually went out and we shopped. Bucati took us out to the marketplace to shop. And
Well, I don't know if Bucati would shop NPR because NPR is a public entity shared group, and I don't think Bucati would shop them.
Then I do not know, sir.
They specialize in municipalities and school districts.
Okay.
That's their specialty. NPR, Missouri Public Risk, is
Okay.
what it's called. I don't know if it would be any cheaper. With our history, but I know Bucati does a pretty good job of shopping within their bounds, but they're not the only option.
When we have to go into executive session to talk about some other personnel issues, I'll be more free to disclose the situation that we're facing there in executive session.
Do we have to make a decision on this now?
For just the sake of renewals, yes, because our current policy expires December 31st, and so if we don't have that decision, we automatically get hit with that almost $10,000 increase.
I don't know. I hate to think of an employee getting cancer or something, God forbid, and then racking up $1 million worth of.
So, sir, if you go, I wrote a letter to explain the difference and what the economic impact is in switching between the two. And down at the bottom, I believe from going from where we are to where this is taking us, I believe the total increase would be $4,000 maximum out of pocket to the employee.
Okay, so I don't understand how,
So
explain it,
yes,
because what this is saying is the way I'm reading it, 7,000 out of pocket, or 7,000 out of pocket max, and
Yes,
then
sir.
after that, the
No.
employee's accountable for 25%
No,
of
sir.
everything else.
No, if I haven't explained it correctly.
Well, I don't. Yeah,
No, no.
it's probably not me understanding.
Let me explain. So the way that it works is that we have a $3,500 deductible. So the employee pays $3,500 before the plan even touches it.
Mm-hmm.
So then with the 75-25, if their healthcare costs exceed that $3,500, then the insurance company picks up 75% and the employee is liable for 25% up to that total $7,000. So for an
Okay.
additional $3,500.
Yeah.
And so by raising the HRA to pick up the first $3,500, then the employee is really only out the additional $3,500.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, right now, with the way it is, with the $2,000, the employee's out $1,500. So where we are now, they're out $1,500 max. Going with the new one, they're out $3,500 max. So it's really only a $2,000 difference to kind of stay where we're at.
That makes more. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
it can
more
be
palatable.
And I've had the conversation many a time because everybody insurance is a complex topic.
So worst case scenario, an employee going to this other plan would maximum have $2,000 more a year out of their pocket,
Correct. Yeah,
regardless of situation.
regardless of the situation. If they had cancer last year and they have cancer this year, the difference between the two is $2,000 out of pocket.
So we can talk more, and I'll just save my other questions for closed session.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can deal with that. I don't like it for the employees, but when they try to raise your rate 59%, you gotta do something.
Yeah, and I'll be able to explain why that happened.
So Ryan, what do you need?
I need a motion to approve the 2025-26 Blue Cross Blue Shield rates.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the 25-26 Blue Cross Blue Shield rates as written out with the adjustments as we've discussed.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then, since we discussed the HRA, if you were okay with that, then a motion to increase the HRA contribution from $2,000 to $3,500.
Yeah, make a motion to increase the HRA from the numbers you just mentioned to the numbers you just mentioned.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The numbers we didn't mention.
Thank you, gentlemen. That is a very difficult situation, and increasing the HRA makes it definitely more comfortable. And it actually, for the majority of cases, it'll actually probably decrease their out-of-pocket costs because, for most of staff, the $3,500 will cover all their medical expenses in a year.
Nice.
And so it actually does save them money by increasing the HRA.
Thanks for getting
Figuring it out.
thanks for figuring that out.
Yeah.
Well, and I just want to let you know that the day that I got the MoPerm increase, I got this one right after. It was not a happy afternoon, and Amanda can
Yeah,
attest to that.
Yeah, well, what do you do? You gotta roll over and
All right, item number G.
So this is a topic that Mark is going to discuss, and so the area is over by our the new animal kennel, the recycling trailers. We have a lift station there, and it needs some attention. The initial proposals that we received is outside of my scope of authority, and so Mark is going to bring them to you with a caveat that based on some of the actions that we might be undertaking going forward, we might postpone it, the total rehab, just to wait to see how things shake out. But with that, Mark, I'll turn over to you.
Yeah,
Come on up here, Mark. Have a seat with us, buddy.
yeah, I some of this stuff out a year ago, and then we kind of put it on the table, and reapproached it again this year. And my gosh, it's like the insurance deal. Went from the $25,000 to $41,000 for this lift station rehab, and that's through JCI. And that's basically a total rehab. Well, I mean, it isn't, well, you probably don't want all the details, but to update the station to where it really needs to be. And that's not even buying a pump. We have a pump we can put in place. We just won't have a spare. But and try to decide if this is something we want to go ahead and do. But we decided it'd probably be good to go ahead and get it on the table with you guys and hopefully get approval. If we decide this is our best option rather than trying to take some shortcuts, maybe to buy some time or whatever, or if we take a shortcut to try to buy some time and it falls through on us, we'd have this to fall back on, just go ahead and move forward before the price goes up even more.
What kind of issues are you having with it?
We've got, we've been slowly phasing out one brand of pumps and going with the Cadillac brand of pumps that we have like no problems with. And these old pumps have been rebuilt time after time after time. And we have two stations that use the same pumps. The one's at the lagoon. There's 2 pumps per station. The old lagoon down there by the recycle takes identical pumps. And anyway, we have got, it's a partial combination of like 3 different types of setups in this old lagoon station right now. Part of an above ground, leftovers of an above ground station. Leftovers or reinstalled some below ground submersible, converted over to the newer style submersible and base elbow, and so it's a kind of a Duke's mixture in there. Hope I'm not rambling too much on it, and I hope I'm answering your questions. But anyway, this would do away with the doghouse down there. So we'd have
when he says doghouse, there's a cover that looks like a doghouse that covers the pump that they have to raise and then get down in it. Not the new dog kennel that we just for clarification for anybody who might be listening.
And I guess side note on that subject too. Mentioned dog kennel. I want to pat ourselves on the back a little bit for the efforts we went to on that corner of town. We took just a piece of excess real estate that we owned and converted it to looks like a business lot. Since Langley cleaned up their mess, you go south, it's been south on the 4-lane and left over back and forth. It looks like a usable business lot, piece of property.
Yep.
And I'm really thankful we put the efforts into it. We did.
Yep.
But
So what's our timeline before we have to do something?
well, we've been running on one pump for a while.
And so that's what Mark and I have
Yeah.
kind of been going back and forth in. We talked about maybe either getting a pump and putting a pump in, or having one rebuilt and have it set on the side to where we're not in danger of any failure. But before we do the major rehab, have a couple stop gaps in place.
Yeah.
But we wanted to go ahead and bring the rehab to you to where if other things fall through that we don't move forward on, which we'll discuss more in executive session, then we'll be able to, move forward on this. Eventually, it needs to be done. The question is who does it, whether that's us or a third party.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what depends on the amount of money's in put into that as to what we get back in return minus depreciation or whatever. But yeah, we'd like to go ahead and see about getting approval for a full repair. Basically, it totally updates that station where it's updated. It changes a bit. Right now, the way it is, they've had to take the lid off, part of the lid off. Somebody has to get in there to take the pumps in and out. Because it's got part of the submersible pump. They usually come and go on guide rails that start at the surface. Well, due to the fact that the guide rails are set back under this doghouse, they can't bring guide rails all the way up, so they've got to bring it up, pop it off, pull it out, pull it up.
So what would the change be? What it'd eliminate the doghouse?
It'll eliminate the doghouse. There's a concrete lid sitting there. If I just see it as a concrete lid, they're sitting there, but it's so tall. I kept that. That was the original lid off that station years ago, originally. And when we went to the above ground. So my intent is to get rid of the doghouse, take all the piping back below grade, put the concrete lid back on, put the guide rails all the way to the top. It's very worry-free to change pumps. and service them. And we could actually, well, I don't really like getting into the wiring end of it that much, but we could really almost change pole pumps ourselves if we had to.
So not only are you wanting to upgrade the pump itself, but you're wanting to upgrade the whole system as a whole.
Yeah,
basically.
The piping's been reconfigured, went to above ground, and so now it's been cobble patched to flow through comes from submersible to above ground, back subgrade, and then back into the force main.
Yeah.
And then they core drilled a center line instead of using one of the originals. So we can run new lines. The old pipes are still there, it's spray foam the end of it, but we can run a smaller size pipe through, which is still adequate size. Put check valves and everything back in the manhole right north of it. And what needs to be there, that's subgrade. We'll put you back to, your lid may still stick up like that, but I mean if the car hits it, they're just going to jump it. It doesn't lock the lid, whatever else. We did go ahead and put the concrete jersey barriers there to hold. That way if somebody got a little whatever, they couldn't hit it.
Do we have the money in the budget, or where would this come from?
We did not budget this repair in the budget, so we would have to do a budget adjustment and pull it out of reserves.
I guess the full mill deal here with JCI is, unless they didn't change their date when they revised it for me, but they did change their numbers. You might as well say 42,000. There's 41,927. I did seek two other bids. One declined, and another company did bid it, and they bid, I believe it's 37,000. I have not done business with this company before. They don't have a bad reputation, but I haven't done business with them. They're basically, the company was started from some disgruntled employees from the company that didn't bid 25 or 30 years ago, and they developed their own business. Like I said, they're at 37, 230. So
How long are those bids good for? Like 30 days?
I would have to ask. I would say probably by the first year it'd probably still be good. I'm sure after that probably some updates on it. There is additional fees besides this that'll be involved to do this. So like I say, you're looking at 27 opposed to 34. For the turn, they said it can take up to a week to get this whole project completed. So we have to have bypass pumping. So the sewage has to be sucked out of the manhole right next to there and pumped back into the force main, which dumps out up the lumberyard. And that's gonna be ballpark of $6,500 on the higher end. I believe that's for a week plus setup, mobilization, and they may trim a little bit of that with another possible alternative I'd like to do too. So yeah, you're okay. 37. Another
64, 65.
6,500. Let's see, my brain's 37, 43, 44, 35, 44, 44,000 plus
70.
50,000-60,000 for the.
yeah, 50 knock it in the head.
Is this something that can be done if it's in January with the weather?
Yeah, the weather. I mean, it's bitter freezing might be some issue with the bypass pump. It works on a float system, so depending on how the pump's set up, whether the pump chamber's water or not between pump cycles, the pump would probably be running every 10 minutes. So, you know enough about pumps, probably 30-degree weather, 20-degree weather,
Yeah.
you get by 15 minutes between pump cycles without catastrophic damage or anything.
Yeah.
Part of the other deal with, like I said, 50, we stole 50 at it, is to go ahead and put in, they feel like there's enough room there to go ahead. I had an alternate bid about 2,000 for this Alliance pump, of putting another permanent valve and a T in the check valve, or valve and a T in the discharge line past the two check valves. So if that station ever has to be taken back down again, this would be the second or third time it's been kind of done somewhat this way. That you just set up the pump, plug it into a quick coupling in this manhole, switch valves around, fire up your pump, and eliminate your pump station, take it out of the loop and do your work. Which we'll have to do a wash down on it too. That's another $1,000 or better. So the fifth. I hope I'm not talking too many circles or too much detail. I know you're picking up on everything I'm saying, but I hope I'm not getting too much deer in the headlights out of these guys.
Is what it is. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think Ryan 50 would be a safe number, and we'd like to maybe have that as an option to fall back on. But if we, maybe choose not to, if these other alternatives, I did get thinking though, these old pumps that we talked about sending in rehab, they may be, they're going to be probably, I'm going to guess 7,000 to 10,000 to rebuild, and they may be short term. They may be 3 months, maybe 6 months life on them, and we may have trouble with them again, depending on how tight a tolerances they get to rebuild.
Yeah.
Because this old type pump tends to suck rags, mop heads, stuff like that into them and plugs them up. We gotta have them pulled, unragged. And another option is take our other new pump and just change the base elbow and put it in there. Everything looks, aesthetics looks the same as it is, but we would have both new pumps in. So that might be our cheapest. That's going to be 15,000. 7 to 10 probably rebuild one of those pumps. 15,000 just to change the base elbow. Which we had got that. Ryan and I talked about that to begin with this fall, and I said, well, shit, for another 8,000, we could just rehab the whole thing anyway. Well, I went back to them, and they come back with the insurance increase.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, where did that come from? So anyway, I hope I haven't caused more confusion than enlightenment.
Can we table this until after the executive session?
Yes, sir.
Is that
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We can.
I think there might be some stuff we talked about in executive session that might shed some light on
Yes, sir.
the timeline. So
Well,
that's we don't need a motion to do that, do we?
No, you would just motion now to go into executive session.
Make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call, please.
Roll call. Vic.
Yay.
Hummel.
Yes.
Bridges.